What's going on, guys? It's Greg here today, and I'm bringing you a Call of Duty Vanguard gameplay commentary, and we're going to be going over 5 essential class setups that I think will fit anyone of any skill level, and I want to make sure that all the guns, all the perks, all the equipment, kill streaks, everything has been available from the start of the game, so that way if you are joining this game late, or if you don't have the stuff unlocked yet, you can just go ahead and level up these 5 guns and use the attachments that you see on the screen that we'll go over. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Hopefully it will help you out a lot. And real quick, I want to give a quick disclaimer. These are not actually classes that I specifically use in multiplayer, but they are classes that I tailored for the average player of any skill level to be able to use and succeed with in Call of Duty. I will not give away my personal class setups to someone of any skill level. I'll recommend them, but I will not give them to say they're good for any skill level, and the reason being is I have a very specific play style in Call of Duty Vanguard where I rely on aiming, and it is very fine-tuned aiming, so therefore it is going to be something that you will have to build up muscle memory for over the years in order to succeed with my classes, and that is why I give them out if you guys want to try them, but I cannot recommend the exact class setups that I use in Call of Duty Vanguard multiplayer. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into these 5 class setups that I have for you guys. 1 weapon from each category, excluding shotguns, because personally I don't use shotguns and I don't think they're great for improving at the game. If you want to use them for fun, by all means go ahead, but these are going to be 5 class setups for you guys to help improve at the game. Anyways, let's go ahead and get right into this. So the first weapon class setup I'm going to go over is the 1911. Alright, all jokes aside, I understand. It's a pistol, but hear me out. This is going to be on every single class setup that I give you guys today, so that's why I wanted to go over this first. So you guys can see how this is going to be broken down. There's going to be stats, the recoil plot. There's also going to be kill streaks on each different class setup, as well as the perks and equipment, and we'll go over that in full detail. But first, let's go ahead over this 1911 and why I chose each individual attachment. I've decided to make this a very accurate yet fast handling build for you guys, so that's why I decided to choose the F8 stabilizer combined with the Cooper 6.5-inch barrel, so that way you guys have great recoil control, great accuracy, and a lightweight trigger just to slightly increase our rate of fire. Now it's going to be single fire, so you're going to have to pull the trigger each individual time. We also have the 45 ACP 8-round fast mag on. This is just so we have the standard magazine, but it's going to reload a little bit quicker. And we're going to combine this with the lengthened ammo type, so that way you guys can track your targets down a little bit longer range, easier. The slate reflector is a great sight for it because it gives a clear picture, and the leather grip in the rear grip is also a great choice because it's going to increase your aim down sight time. Now combine this with quick, it's going to let you get places faster when sprinting, and vital is going to allow you to two-shot enemies to the upper torso. So again, it's a great low recoil build with a 2-shot capability, but the only con is obviously going to be that 8-round mag, so make sure your shots count. Alright, I get it. There is a lot to digest here on this Automaton build, and that's why I am going to go ahead and try to take as much time as I can to go over each of these individual class setups. I could have probably organized this a little bit better, but there's not a lot of room on the screen because I still have to let you guys see the attachments, so I try to use the empty space to put in all the extra stuff. So you have everything right here. You can pause the video if you need to, so you can look at what's on the screen. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this first one here. It's the Automaton. So the first things first, whenever I was trying to build this for you guys, I wanted an accurate build that has good power, which what I mean by that is good damage on it. And I want it to be a versatile build that's going to be able to succeed in close quarters and long range. So I built this one because it's going to have that high power, it's very accurate, and it's also very versatile. So let's go ahead and get right into this. The F8 stabilizer is going to be your muzzle. It's going to help increase the bloom on the weapon, so that way there is less of it. As for the barrel, we're going to use the BFA. This is going to tighten up that bloom even further, and it's also going to make it so this gun is extremely controllable even at the extreme ranges. We have the slate reflector on for a clear sight, so that way you guys can track your enemies at any range. And we also have the Zac skeletal stock on. This is going to increase your strafing speed while ADS'd, so that way you can wiggle in gunfights and try to evade bullets easier. We have the M3 Ready Grip on to increase our sprint to fire speed, as well as give us more strafing speed while we're ADS'd, and it's also going to increase our aim down sight time, just at a slight cost to our vertical recoil control, but that's not really to worry about with this class setup. Our magazine is going to be the 8mm Clouser 50 round mag. It's actually a 60 round mag at the current time recording this video. Not sure if it's bugged or not, but it was currently buffed to a 60 round mag. And this is going to increase our damage, slow the fire rate down a little bit, and increase our recoil. But I promise you guys, with the attachments that we have on here, that recoil is not going to be a problem at all. And all you're going to benefit from is the faster time to kill with this weapon, and of course, less bullets to kill. We have the FMJ rounds on to get more bullet penetration, which is also a bonus from the 8mm Clouser rounds. So this is also going to be something that you should not be afraid to go ahead and shoot enemies through surfaces such as wood, sheet metal, anything that you think is penetrable, go ahead and shoot right through it. Our rear grip is going to be the fabric grip, and again, this is just going to be kind of like the M3 Ready Grip, and why I chose this attachment. It's just going to help you guys speed up this gun because it is quite slow at handling, so that is the reason we have the fabric grip on, to try to counteract that slowness of some of these attachments. And then the tight grip proficiency is going to make it so under sustained fire, you're going to be more accurate and the recoil is going to be more controllable. And last but not least, we have fully loaded on, so that way you guys have a lot of ammunition at your disposal. And one of the biggest cons on this weapon is going to be the directional recoil, which is quite hard for beginners, but it is so slight that I promise you guys are barely going to notice. All you have to do is pull your thumbstick or mouse down to the right ever so slightly, and about halfway through the magazine you're going to have to switch it to the left because it's going to start kicking up to the right. So you'll just have to start pulling down to the left about halfway through the magazine, and it is so slight that it's almost like you're just pulling this gun straight down the entire time. Promise, with practice you will feel like you are aimbotting your enemies because there is literally virtually no recoil on this gun once you practice. Next up, let's go ahead over our perks. So we have Fortified, Radar, and Lightweight on, and the reason I chose these perks is, one, this is going to be a weapon that you can use in close quarters, but you also kind of want to stretch it out to those mid-long ranges, and you're pretty much just going to be holding down an area on the map. That would be the most ideal playstyle for this. So Fortified is going to help it, so if people are spamming grenades at you, it will be so much easier for you to survive those grenades and RPGs or whatever people are trying to take you out of positions with. Radar I put on because I feel like for the average player, it's going to make you way more aware of what's going on around you. People that are shooting unsuppressed weapons are going to show up on your radar, so you don't have to worry about having a spy plane to see that. And I feel like holding down the middle of the map and all that kind of stuff, it's going to help you guys out tremendously having that on. And Lightweight is on for a reason you might not actually think, but it's actually on to further increase our ADS strafing speed, and the reason this actually works is it increases our current value, which is about 8 point something miles per hour, as you can see in the infographic, and it's going to increase that by 6%. So you get a 6% movement increase across every type of movement, whether it's sprinting, tack sprinting, walking, or even strafing. So Lightweight is a great perk for that kind of stuff. And we're also going to have the Mark II frag grenade on, so you guys can try to use frags to cook them up and get people out of spots pretty quickly, or toss it through a window, and a stun grenade in case you're being pushed and you really just need some backup. The trophy system is going to pair amazingly with this class because, again, we're going to be trying to fortify a position in the middle of the map and block it down, and a lot of people are going to be lobbing nades and stuns at you, so the trophy is going to help you out tremendously. As for your kill streaks, I want to keep this simple because, again, I want streaks that the average player is going to be able to earn and also help their team at the same time. So we have the counter spy plane on, so that way the enemies are not going to see your unsuppressed fire on the minimap if they're using a radar perk or have spy planes up. And again, we're not running ghost, so this counter spy plane is really going to help you out stay alive a little bit longer and fortify that position. The glide bomb is great for clearing out power positions on the map, as well as keeping traffic out of the middle of the map. And the guard dog is going to help you fortify that position because you can have it watch an area, you can have it sit there, it will watch that area, or you can have it follow you around, and if someone takes you out or starts shooting at you, you can try to take cover while an enemy's shooting at you and let the guard dog chase them down. Hopefully they're not running cold-blooded, or else the guard dog is not going to take them down for you. Next up, we have probably the best SMG in the game. It is one of the most popular in the entire game, so let's go ahead and get right over this one. Again, I have kitted this one out as a rushing class setup. This one is going to be about running and gunning, that true classic Call of Duty feel that everybody has known to grow and love over the years. So this one's going to be about stealth, it's going to be about flanking, it's going to be about pushing out positions and making sure that you are a ghost on the map. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First things first, we have the M1929 silencer. Now, I did not put the other silencer on the Mercury silencer. Reason being is, although it does not reduce your aim down sight time, I feel that taking away from your damage range on a SMG that is already pretty quick at handling, I feel that it is a waste and you'll just be hurting your potential with this gun because you want to try to have the most range you can when you're using an SMG for that maximum damage potential. So that's the reason I went with this silencer. Now our barrel is going to be the Krosnik 317mm, and this is going to help control the recoil of this gun and tighten it up so that way you have the tightest pattern possible, and it's going to be super easy to control, I promise you guys. Our sight, this is up to you guys. I like the iron sights, and I went with the Krosnik ISO 1M. It's a large, clear iron sight, great fun to use, and I absolutely would recommend it to you guys. For our stock, we went with the VDD 34M, and while this does reduce your movement speed just a little bit, it is going to tighten up the horizontal bounce on this gun by a massive margin, and it's almost going to feel like this gun has literally, again, zero recoil, just like the Automaton. I can promise you at practice, you will find this gun super easy to control, which is also why I went with the hand stop. We're going to tighten that up a little bit more, that horizontal spread, and we're also going to make sure that we're controlling the vertical recoil pretty well. We're going to be going with the 9mm 32 round fast mag. It's pretty much the same default mag that you're used to, except it reloads much faster and doesn't take away any movement speed. We also have the lengthened ammo type, so that way you guys can track your enemies at longer range quite easily. And we went with stippled grip tape for that initial recoil accuracy, as well as brace to even further tighten up our initial recoil accuracy. And then we have the kit as quick, so that way we can sprint around the map a lot faster. So the recoil on this gun is just straight up to the right, as you guys can see. So all you got to do with your mouse or your controller is just pull down to the left ever so slightly, and it's going to help you guys pretty much shoot this gun straight laser beam pinpoint accuracy. Amazing setup for you guys. Hopefully it will help you out. So some pros to this class setup: again, very low recoil, very low horizontal bounce, super easy to control, 3-shot kill potential to the torso. Now, if you are confident in your tracking at long range and you're not too worried about actually killing people at long range and you're only worried about getting in people's faces, you can slap hollow point on this gun. Even though it's going to decrease your maximum damage range potential, it is going to help you if you're struggling to hit 3 torso shots. So it will make it so legs and arms are also going to give you that 3-shot potential. But again, it's going to hurt your maximum damage range. The only downsides to this weapon is low bullet penetration, so you're not going to be shooting people through cover. And the hip fire on this build is questionable. It's not that good. But honestly, hip fire in Call of Duty has never been that good in recent years. So I wouldn't recommend going for hip fire unless you're going for a camo challenge. Now, as for our perks, again, we're going to want to stay off the radar here. We're going to be very stealthy, so we're going to go with Ghost. Ghost is going to keep you off the radar whenever there is a spy plane active, intel active, and it's also going to keep you off field mics. So if there's a field mic on the ground nearby and you're sprinting around or you're active on Ghost, you're not going to have to worry about that. Now, if an enemy is using local informants, which is the 12 kill streak that shows directional UAV on the minimap in real time, you will still show up on the local informants. but you will be a red dot like a regular UAV. You will not have a triangle or a vector showing up on the mini-map, giving away what direction you are facing. But be aware that your movement can still give away how you are actually moving and what direction you are facing to anyone who is paying attention to that. We have Tracker for perk 2. The reason we have Tracker on is so that way enemy death icons will not show up when you kill somebody. So that way, if there's an enemy sitting in the back of the map, maybe they're camping or spawn, and are looking for those death icons to see if somebody's pushing up, you will not show up on that. They will not be able to know if their teammate died around a corner or whatnot, unless they notice it on the minimap or they're communicating with that player. So Tracker's a great option. Also, if someone's getting away from you, you'll be able to see where their footprints are going, so you can make a decision there if you need to chase them down or not. And Double Time is going to give us some more attack sprint, which is really important for pushing and flanking and making sure that we're getting to areas as fast as we can on the map, so that's why we are going to pair that with Double Time. Also, the Mark II frag, you can make some plays off this. You could throw it, through a window, try to get an arc, cook it, however you want to use it. It's great for clearing out a position. And stim shots we have on here. Now, you don't have to use the stim shots just to regenerate health. You can also use it if you're in a pinch and you need more attack sprint because maybe you ran out of attack sprint, you used it all. Pop that stim shot and you'll regain your attack sprint back, and then you can go ahead and try to get out of an area. We also are using the tack insertion on this class. I love using the tack insertion on an aggressive build. The reason being is you don't have to spawn all the way in the back of your spawn and have to re-push up from map control. You could pop that tack insert down near an objective, or you could pop it near their spawn, and that way it keeps you in the action the entire time. Just be aware that you're going to have to re-earn your tack insert in order to go ahead and spawn back in the position you want, but it's pretty quick, a couple of kills, and you already have your tack insert back, and it's a great way to prevent your team from being spawn trapped or also losing objectives. As for your streaks on this class setup, I'm going to recommend the spy plane so you can see where enemies are at nearby, and I'm also going to recommend the war machine because this is great for clearing out highly congested areas while you're trying to rush, and the bombing run is also really good because it's going to help you guys with map control. The DP-27 is an excellent LMG for all of you that like that LMG playstyle where you're just locking down a lane on the map or locking down a position and no one's going to get through. This thing is a bullet hose. It has amazing recoil, although I will recommend don't spray it for too long because it starts to lose its accuracy and it starts to go all over the place towards the end of its magazine. So be sure at longer ranges you're tap firing, but up close you won't even notice that. So let's go ahead and get right into this DP-27 build. First things first, F8 stabilizer, you're probably noticing it's kind of normal on a lot of guns. Listen, just reducing bloom is such a great thing for any gun in the game. That's what that accuracy stat does. And on top of that, F8 stabilizer increases your maximum damage range. So what's there to lose on it? The next attachment we have is going to be the barrel. I'm not even going to try to embarrass myself pronouncing this. So I'm just going to say the 680mm barrel. And what this is going to do is it's going to tighten up the recoil a lot. It's going to make it so it's really easy to control. And overall, it's a great attachment. Now, it is going to weigh the gun down, which is why I have a couple attachments on here to try to counteract that. So we'll get into that in a little bit. The G16, I believe it's a G16 2.5x. This is a great optic to use. It's going to give you a little bit more zoom, which is great on a weapon like this where you're going to be locking down a lane. And it's also going to decrease your recoil, and it's also going to decrease bloom. So what is there not like about that? For our stock, we're going to be using the ZAC S2M. This is, again, another great stock when it comes to tightening up that recoil even more. And as you guys can tell with this weapon by now, I'm trying to make a lot of these guns as accurate as possible for a very specific playstyle, which for this one, it's pretty much just holding down that lane, being a stationary person, and just locking things down. So that's the whole point of this class setup. For our underbarrel, we have the Mark VI skeletal, and this is to give us a little bit more ADS time because, like I said, a lot of these attachments are weighing down the ADS as well as the handling, so we've got to speed that up a little bit. Same reason I went with the Sakura 63 round pan. It increases our ADS time, so it's still a decent sized magazine. The reload on this is going to be pretty slow, so have a teammate help you out or try to fortify your position whenever you're going to reload. But that ADS is quite important with this weapon. Also, the FMJ rounds, again, we're trying to bullet hose with this gun. Having FMJ is going to further improve our bullet penetration capability, and that's why I have it on this class, because, again, this is an LMG. We have stippled grip on, so that way our initial recoil is very tight, and we have hard scope on, so while you guys are ADSing longer, the recoil gets even easier to control yet. So for our kit, we have fully loaded just to make sure you guys have enough ammo in your reserves. Now, if you really want, you could switch this up for defender, so that way you can mount faster. Like whenever you're mounted, you can move around faster while mounted. It's up to you. I'd recommend just using fully loaded. And for our perks, we're going to have fortified. Again, expect people to throw a lot of grenades at you while you are fortifying a position. No pun intended. Piercing vision is going to be great on this gun because we have 63 rounds in the mag. You're probably going to be wanting to use the bullet penetration to go ahead and shoot enemies that are behind cover. So this gun has amazing penetration capabilities, and combining that with piercing vision is pretty much just going to give you a wall hack on anyone that is not running the Dauntless perk. So again, great option for this. And we're also going to run Tactician, and this is where things get a little bit different. So we're running the Gammon Bomb, so that way if you get someone weak and they go behind cover, maybe you can't quite shoot through it, you could throw that Gammon Bomb. It's got a big blast radius, and it's going to secure the kill for you. And we have the S-Mine 44 on. This is why I'm running Tactician. It's so you guys can go ahead and place down S-Mines to watch your flank, or try to help fortify your position in a pinch. And it's also going to let you know where enemies are if you place it on a flank, which is a great reason to go ahead and have it. Please note, this thing is not going to kill anyone unless they're really weak. It's just going to stun them, so it's going to give you some time to try to reposition or take them out. Next, we have the Jammer field upgrade. Whenever you're fortifying a position, people are going to know where you're at, but having the Jammer down is going to make it so enemies that are trying to push through there, they're not going to have that information on their mini-map. And on top of that, if you are in an area where you can reposition and constantly change up your position, the Jammer is going to allow you to do that without being seen on the minimap, and it's going to be a lot harder for enemies to understand where you're coming from. Now, for our streaks, we're going to be using the Care Package, the Glide Bomb, and the Bombing Run. The reason I have the Care Package on is because you're probably going to be laying back with this, so it's going to be safe for you guys to run that Care Package and call it in, because you're more than likely going to be on the side of the map where your teammates are still at, so be safe and you'll be able to get that Care Package. The Glide Bomb, again, is just going to help with map control and clearing out spots where the enemies are also positioned in, and the Bombing Run is going to help your team by clearing out high concentrated areas of enemies. The recoil on this gun is straight up to the right, and then it starts to go all over the place. So I'm going to recommend, again, you shoot it pretty much full auto for the first maybe 20 to 25 bullets. After that, don't even bother, just reset your recoil. I recommend tap firing with this gun, and you'll have a lot of success with it. So some pros for this build: great control of the weapon, it'll be super easy to use. Also, you get that large magazine of 63 rounds, but again, you're going to have to single fire this gun down range, and it's also very, very slow at moving speed, so I'd highly recommend when you want to get to a different position, pull out your pistol, and so that way you'll get there faster. The Gewehr 43 is quite possibly one of the most iconic German World War II weapons, and it is a great weapon here in Call of Duty Vanguard. It's actually one of my favorite guns in the game. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this class setup. Starting off this build, we have the Mercury silencer on, and that's because this time around, we're not afraid to hurt our damage range. The ZP 770mm precision barrel is amazing. It is going to pretty much make our 3-shot kill range infinite. The recoil tightening is just amazing. Again, overall, this barrel is pretty much what makes this gun so good. And we're going to combine it with the G16 2.5X, and the reason being is, again, this is a marksman rifle. We'll be laying back. Having that extra range and zoom is going to be great for tracking our enemies at longer ranges. And it also reduces our recoil, as I mentioned earlier. So overall, great attachment. Next, we have the, you know what, forget the attachment, we'll call it the reinforced stock. I'm not going to pronounce that. It's on here just to further tighten up our recoil, and the heavy foregrip is also going to be on this class setup. And the reason the heavy foregrip is on here is because it's going to make it so we have very little idle sway, and the gun overall feels very easy to handle. It's not bouncing all around your screen, so it's going to be great to put this on. We're going to have the 20 round Clouser magazine. This is going to give us the default mag just at a higher capacity, so that way you can take out much more enemies. And we're also going to put on lengthen, so that way this gun feels like hit scan at any range. You don't really have to do any leading in multiplayer when you're using this gun. You just aim at the enemy, shoot at them, they're dead. So our rear grip is going to be granular grip, and this is pretty much the same thing as heavy foregrip. And our proficiency is going to be awareness, so that way you guys can see where enemies are at farther range. It will give you their name tag at a further range. And we also have fully loaded on to make sure that you guys have enough ammo at your disposal. Now, the pros of this build is the pretty much zero recoil. You can see it does not move at all no matter how fast you shoot this, and it has an infinite 3-shot kill range. But there is a con to it, of course. Well, 2 actually. The slow handling, and one of the things that really sucks about marksman rifles in this game is they have more flinch than every other gun in the game except sniper rifles. So you're going to flinch a lot when shot at. So make sure you're positioning yourself with sufficient cover, and you're not going to be getting shot at while you're trying to shoot at your enemies. This gun is all about laying back and picking people off, and if you like that playstyle, it's a great one for you. So for our perks, we're going to have cold-blooded, forward intel, and tactician. Cold-blooded is going to make it so your nameplate does not show at that much further of a range. It's going to shorten that up. It's also going to keep you from appearing on the enemy's minimap when you spawn in if they are using the forward intel perk. Please note, though, that if there's a spy plane or local informant up, you'll still show up. Also, it's going to make it so that if you're looking at an enemy, their high alert ping will not show up if they're using high alert, so that's also a great bonus. And enemy AI streaks, they'll just ignore you, so dogs, don't worry about them. They're not going to bite you. Forward intel is going to be great on this weapon because you're going to be locking down a position, and especially on a map like Demyansk, this is where this gun really shines. Now, one of the things about Demyansk is if you're sitting on top of the church, you've probably noticed that enemies are always shooting you in the back, and that's because the spawns flip so easy on a lot of these maps. So when you're holding down a position like this, using forward intel is going to show those non-cold-blooded players freshly spawning in with a diamond on your radar. It'll be so much easier to tell when a spawn flip happens, and if one of those sneaky enemies is going to be coming up behind you from a bad spawn. Having tactician on, again, we're going to want to fortify our position just like we're using the DP-27, which is why I'm going to recommend you guys S-mines, so that way maybe you could put it on a way into a building or something you might be fortifying, and anyone that comes in, they'll get stunned. You can react to that. Gammon bombs are also on here, so that way you can break windows easier, break doors, or if you just shoot at somebody, they're trying to get away, you can lob that gammon bomb at them, and it will do the rest for you. Our equipment, or field upgrade I should say, is going to be the field mic, and this is going to show non-ghosted players that are nearby on your minimap, so it's kind of like a little portable UAV that you can sit on. Again, though, if people are using dead silence field upgrade, or they have ghost, they're not going to show up on this field mic. Last but not least, our streaks. Now, normally I don't like putting anything over a 7 or 8 on a class because I don't know how easy it is for the average player to earn. I like to try to put kill streaks on that are going to be consistent for you to earn each and every game or close to. But this is a class that I would highly recommend running the attack dogs on because of the way you're going to be playing. So we're going to have the counter spy plane on, so that way you can go ahead and block the enemy's radar. It helps them evade your position. Also, we have the glide bomb on, so that way we can clear out any power positions that you might be being contested by. And the attack dogs, because you're going to be laying back and you're probably going to be streaking with this class setup for how good it is. So I'd highly recommend putting those dogs on, so that way they can apply some amazing pressure to the map, and it will make sure to scramble up your enemies from their position and try to keep them on the move, which makes it so easy to retake map control when attack dogs are out. The last class setup I have for you guys is the Kar 98K sniper rifle. This is probably one of the most iconic snipers in World War II, again coming from Germany, and it is, to no surprise, an excellent sniper, very consistent. So let's go ahead and get right into this final build. Starting off, we're going to be paying attention to our aim down sight speed a lot on this because that is going to allow you to switch targets a lot easier. So the Scout Silencer, again, just like the Gewehr, infinite one-shot range in any map. You're never going to have that range where you're like, wow, I really just can't one-shot them. So that's the reason we have the Scout Silencer on. We're not afraid to hurt our one-shot range at all. The VDD 660mm is probably going to be the best barrel for anyone in this game, and the reason being is you have a larger one-shot, one-kill radius, and on top of that, it's going to maximize your ranges, bullet velocity, all that kind of stuff, so it's just an absolutely amazing barrel to put on your class setup. One of the biggest downsides I feel to any of the sniper rifles in Vanguard is the default zoom on the scope just does not correlate to the map's lines of sight. It's too zoomed in, and you don't have a lot of vision when you're aiming down the sight with it. So I'm going to highly recommend you guys use the 3.5 rifle scope, so that way your magnification is only 3.5 times and you could see way more on the map. Now at very, very long ranges it might get hard for you to see some enemies, but I promise you're going to get way more kills if you shorten up that scope, because having the default like 7 to 8 times is just way too zoomed in for the sizes of the maps in this game. We're going to go with the Reisdorf wire stock, so that way we can go ahead and speed up our movement speed as well as our sprint to fire time. We're not too worried about accuracy on a sniper rifle because you're only shooting one bullet at a time. The thing we're really concerned about is having the least amount of idle sway possible, as well as just making it overall quick enough to use. So we went with the heavy foregrip just the same way as the Gewehr 43. We want the least amount of sway possible on this. We want it to feel really nice whenever we are aiming down the sights with it and make sure it's nice and steady. We have the Klauser 5-round magazine. This is a fast mag, and the reason we have this on is because, again, it doesn't hurt to have it on. It's going to make your reloads way faster than if you don't have it on, so I'd highly recommend putting that one on. Now for our ammo type, we're going to want to make sure our sniper feels most like hit scan as possible, and that's why we have lengthened on for our ammo type. Fabric grip is an amazing choice because we're going to have faster ADS, faster sprint to fire time, and we're only going to lose bloom, but again, it's a sniper rifle. We don't have bloom on a sniper rifle, so fabric grip, it's just a win-win scenario. And for our proficiency, we're going to use driller, so that way we get better wallbang penetration, as well as we'll get some actual extra XP for getting wallbang kills, so it's an added bonus. Also fully loaded, so that way you guys make sure you have enough ammo. Now, the pros, low sway, infinite one-shot, one-kill to the torso and head. The cons, though, snipers have the most flinch in the entire game, so make sure you're not getting shot at when using this. And the handling is just moderate. It's nothing amazing, not too slow, but it's moderate. For our perks, we're going to use cold-blooded, same reasons as we went over on the G43, but we're also going to have high alert on this time. And the reason we have high alert on is so that way we know whenever enemies are looking at us that don't have the cold-blooded perk on. So if they're behind us to our sides, we'll know whenever they're looking at us and we can't see them. Now, we're also going to have the Tactician perk on yet again. This is the third class with this perk for the same reason. It's a gun that you're going to fortify positions with, so I'd highly recommend putting on an S-mine for the same reasons we talked about earlier. Also, we're going to have the throwing knife on. The reason being is our 1911 only has 8 rounds. This gun has 5 rounds. So we're not going to want to waste bullets on enemies that are not looking at us that we happen to get behind. So we're going to go ahead and just lob a throwing knife at them, and we'll be able to retrieve it on impact. And we're going to be able to get our throwing knife back, and it's going to be a free silent kill for you guys. Now, we have the dead silence field upgrade, and the reason being is this is for repositioning. Sniping is all about positioning. So since we're not running Ghost and we're not running Ninja, having dead silence is going to give us both of those. And it's great to have this because combined with the cold-blooded perk, you're pretty much going to be invisible on the map. No one's ever going to be able to find you based off of lines of sight and seeing your nameplate, downrange. You're not going to have to worry about showing up on a UAV. You're not going to have to worry about enemies seeing you on their forward intel perk, or alerting them with high alert. They're also not going to be able to hear your footsteps. So overall, it's going to make you that ghost on the map, and it's just an absolute amazing combination to have that cold-blooded and dead silence combination on a sniper. And again, repositioning, not being able to be found while repositioning, just overall a great way to use this class. Now for our streaks, we're going to go for support, and we're also going to go for support for ourselves. So the glide bomb, again, we've talked about this 100 times today. We're just going to put that thing down and break map control, so that way our teammates will be able to regain map control. Now for our second kill streak, we're going to use the guard dog. The reason we have this on is so it can watch our back. Again, if we hit marker an enemy up close, maybe with our pistol, we can duck to cover. The guard dog's going to go ahead and hunt them down if you're not running the cold-blooded perk. Or we can have it guard a building, a position, and you could set it there, and it will watch that area. Again, if they're using cold-blooded, it's not going to chase them down. Last but not least, we have the bombing run on, so that way high concentration areas can go ahead and get bombed, and it will help your teammates push up. Now, there is one final thing I have to say about sniping, and that is in your settings. You guys can see I have something in there for your settings. So under your controller settings and in gameplay, or if you're on mouse and keyboard, under the gameplay tab, there's something called breath behavior, I believe, or like about steady aim behavior, something like that. You want to make it so it is on toggle, and the reason you want to put it on toggle is so that way whenever you press the button to hold your breath, you just press it. You don't have to hold it. It's going to make it so strafing and aiming is just so much easier, and you don't have to worry about having an extra input. And then whenever you want to stop holding your breath, you just press it again. Amazing thing to start using if you haven't already. Anyways, that is going to be the class setup, and hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll go ahead and get right into the outro. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video, and even if you only wanted one of the guns, that's perfectly fine. All I want to say is thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the longest video I've ever made, and I really hope that it has helped you guys out, and hopefully you guys will find some more success in the multiplayer experience. Anyways, hopefully you consider subscribing, dropping me a rating, and leaving a comment, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I wish you guys the best. Peace.